Molefi Ntseki has revealed his biggest worry at Kaizer Chiefs so far. Hello and welcome to Coast Nation Fan TV. I am Pelo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Amakusi Football Club. Molefi Ntseki says that his biggest worry so far at Kaizer Chiefs is the fact that there are just way too many new players. Right? I don't know how I feel about that. Because here's the thing. The first thing is that we talked about continuation. Kaizer Chiefs talked about continuation, right? So I'm not going to dismiss the fact that there are new players and there's a lot of them, but I feel like it's nonsensical for you to make that an excuse and then play all 6 new players in your first game. It doesn't make sense why you want to play all the new players and not try to integrate them and start with last year's squad and then with the new players slowly introduce them into the new team. Then you won't be worried about these things because he was head of technical last year. The biggest worry was we're leaking goals. Well, that was one of the worries. We're leaking goals at the back. So what do? Gezana is gone, so there's a space in defense. Msimango starts. Dove was injured when the season starts. Dove plays. Okay, I mean, Ditloko starts, so that's fine. You can have those 2 new players in your starting 11. Shanti at left back, you play Frostlight at right back. Fine, the starting 11 already has 2 new players, but they are fine because the things that they are supposed to do are not that difficult. It's to just defend, because we're talking about defenders. We go to our midfielders. Our midfielders, you're already starting with Mdantsane and Castillo. 2 new players in midfield. The most critical area in your midfield, you have 2 new players already. And instead of actually starting with a player like Mtutuzi Shabalala for starters, play him as a 10 and see what it does. Play Castillo, a new player, and then play Mart. Now you have another player that you've introduced into your starting 11. Up front, you can still start with a player like Dupree, and then you can play Saile on the right and play Ranga in the middle. Right now, you have 4 out of 6 of your new signings. But if you're just going to play Modi, Potsane, so 2 new players up front, in midfield, 2 new players, at the back, you're playing all the 2 new players that you signed. What are you expecting? Because obviously, if you do this, it's going to come back and bite you. And as I said, I'm not going to dismiss him and make it seem like, having new players and them needing time to adapt is not a thing. It is a thing. Players do need time to adapt to a new team, to a new environment, especially an environment like Kaizer Chiefs. But also, as a coach yourself, you should foresee this, that he's new, and in the spirit of continuation, let's keep the players who were performing last season. Frosler towards the end of the season regained his form. Shanti Velo had no choice because Dove was there. Up front, in midfield, Mart was better than people were saying was better than Stebe. I truly believe that Stebe was better than Matt last season. Say that. Wait, what I'm saying is that Sitebe was better than Matt for me, so I would have started with him. Anyways, they prefer Matt. Start Matt is fine. But if you're going to play all your new signings at once and expect the team to perform miraculously, then you are shooting yourself in the foot. And you know why this thing worries me with Ntseki? It's because it's taken him like 8 games, 9 games and being knocked out of a competition for him to realize that there are way too many new players. But you are the one who literally signed those new players, and actually any other coach will be celebrating the new players that they signed. But then again, you look at other teams, they have new coaches, they have new players. Because to me, what makes new players coming to a new team a difficult task for a coach? It's because it's new information, new environment, which means 7 new players coming to a team is not necessarily equivalent to 1 coach arriving in a team, but one could argue that it's kind of similar, because it doesn't matter if you are used to playing together. Because if you are used to playing together in a 4-4-2 and then a coach says we're going to play a 4-3-3, then that kind of messes you up a bit, because now you are not playing with a left midfielder, but now you are playing with a left winger. And the things that are asked of a left winger are different from those things that are asked of a left midfielder. But in this case, we're still playing the same formation, which means the player chemistry that was already there could have been further utilized. Which means this thing of, oh no, we hired Ntseki for the sake of continuity, we're just being sold dreams, because Ntseki clearly was starting his own team with his own new players. All the new players that were signed were for Ntseki, and Ntseki was going to start a new team with new players, which I think is the most ridiculous idea I've ever had, because you cannot just put all of these new players and drop them into the deep end, and then now they're struggling. Look at a player. What do you think is happening to Ranga? He's not scoring goals. What do you think is happening to Modi? He has performed well beginning of the season, but now he started to struggle, because all of a sudden you see what is happening with him is that he doesn't look like himself. Even with Saile, when he came in last season, he was expected to immediately solve problems, and then we saw some things that he could do, but then he kind of disappeared again. Why was that? Because of the fact that the pressure was getting to him. So play the players that you already have, and then kind of ease the other players into the starting 11. What's funny though is that Ntseki, we hear him saying that he's worried that there are way too many new players, but then on Saturday against Amazulu, look at how many new signings would be playing, and then you're like, Kanti, what were you saying you are worried about? Because if you are worried about way too many new players in your starting 11, then drop some. Leave the responsibility to the players that already exist. Take for example how this coming week we can play. We can always just drop Modi and not play him this coming weekend, and we can always play Dupree out wide. We can even, if this is a crazy idea, instead of playing, since we're playing a false 9, instead of playing Dupree as a number 9, you can even play Toli as a false 9, because at least he's a creative player who, when he drops into midfield, he can then pick the right passes without the pressure of having to go into the 18 area and finish off the goals. But no, Tina, we're going to trust all the new players and play them, and then all the new players will look average, and then we're going to go back to square one, where we're saying, let's look at the players who were performing last season, but those players are already losing confidence because they've been dropped in favor of the new players. While the new players were supposed to work their way into the starting 11 and not just come to a team and know good, oh, okay, this is my thing because I was signed to solve these problems, and now I don't have to work any hard. I know players can do that, because if they see that I'm the preferred starter, then no one else will be chosen over me. What do you guys think about what Ntseki said? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.